Well, hey fans, I'd like to welcome you back to the JanuScary special, and today we're talking about Spiral from the Book of Saw. I'd actually like to thank Lionsgate for sending me a copy of the film to do my review. That was pretty nice of you guys. And now, I've been a fan of the Saw franchise ever since I was a 14-year-old kid. I think I saw the first Saw film. It was either on Showtime or Cinemax, and I just remember being enthralled in the story, just seeing these two guys chained up in a bathroom, watching the flashbacks of how they got there and wondering, okay, what is the story? What is the end game? And of course, you get to that just stellar ending where the killer was there the entire time. And after that, I've seen every Saw film as they came out. And even after like Saw 5, where it pretty much just became torture porn, I was like, I've invested enough time in this franchise, I'm going to finish it off. And once Saw 3D came out, I thought it was done. I was happy, I was fulfilled. But then they made Jigsaw, which was like a prequel slash sequel. And it was fine, and I was happy to be back in this universe. But even after that, I was like, so where are we going next? And then you hear talks that Chris Rock is a fan of the Saw franchise and he wants to do his own film, and then we get Spiral from the Book of Saw. First things first, Spiral from the Book of Saw is a terrible name. They should have just named it Spiral. We would have known it was set in the Saw universe as soon as they mentioned Jigsaw's name. Yeah. But the film stars Chris Rock, Max Minghella, and Samuel Jackson, and it follows two detectives as they chase a Jigsaw copycat killer. This is actually the first film in the Saw franchise not to feature Tobin Bell as Jigsaw / John Kramer, however you want to name him. And I think that is a smart move. We need to move away from his story and just move on to new characters and how he affected the world around him, because let's face it, he's dead. You can only go back to that well so many times. But there are actually so many things to enjoy about this film. One, the fact that Chris Rock wanted to make it because he was a fan of the franchise. That is a thumbs up for me right there. Making a film because you are a fan is the best thing you can do. Don't just make the film just because, oh, it'll make money. It's better to make it. Of course you want to make money, but it's better to make it if you are a fan. And the story does pick up sometime after Jigsaw, even though the films aren't really connected. They do mention that there is another copycat killer. As you know, in Jigsaw, his apprentice was basically a copycat of him. So this, I guess that somehow got out in the FBI that he was a copycat. Maybe he got caught, maybe he didn't. We don't really know. But the vibe of the film that you get, it's like a mix of Training Day and Seven. You got these two cops cruising around town, chasing leads. The main cop, his dad is actually, Chris Rock is the main cop. His dad is played by Samuel Jackson. He's the former police chief. And Chris Rock's character turned in a dirty cop. And of course, the other cops don't trust him after that. So you got Samuel Jackson as the chief. And he was like, how do I protect my son when the other cops don't trust him? Cops start treating him bad. He ends up having to retire. That relationship was the heart of the film. And it was great. I wanted more of that. The fact that you're trying to protect your son from all these dirty cops, but yet you want the other cops to respect you. They're chief. Same thing with him. He only works alone because he also doesn't trust the other cops, because at a certain point he got shot because they weren't giving him backup. It was just a great dynamic. There's also the dynamic between him and his partner. That's where you get like the Training Day vibe. He is telling this rookie like, this is where your life's going to go if you choose this path. And the rookie's like, no, this is what I want. And their back and forth is pretty fantastic. When you find out who the killer is in the end, they drop hints throughout the film to help you figure out who it is. It's not like this big secret that's hard to figure out. Pretty much by the second killing, you know who the killer is, but you want to see how they're going to explain it. One thing about a killer that I find weird is Jigsaw was an engineer, so he knew how to make all these traps. He owned all this property. That's how he could get these things done. But this guy, like, how is he smart enough to build these traps? And, like, how did he find the places to put these traps? There's, like, way too many abandoned buildings to make these kind of things work. It is a leap of faith you have to take, but it's fine to suspend believability for a little bit. Another thing about the traps, they are interesting and not too gruesome. It is not torture porn. There's only like 5 traps in the entire film, and they don't like linger on the dead bodies if the people don't succeed in beating the trap. They kind of show you this is what happens. And they are interesting. They're not too gruesome, and they're nice to see. It adds the horror element, but it doesn't take away from the actual story of the film. Chris Rock, he is great in the role as Zeke. I thoroughly enjoyed his jokes throughout the entire film. He actually makes a meta joke about New Jack City in the film, which is hilarious. And then, of course, there are other jokes about crackheads and drugs and things of that nature, and he just really shined. Some of the film's editing is a bit weird, especially when you get to Samuel Jackson's character. They do like a bait and switch where something's happening at some point, but is actually happening later in the timeline of the film. And the way they edit it, it just is out of place. Also, some of the writing could have used a bit more of a polish. There's this thing called Article 8 where the cops, in the past at least, were allowed to have the freedom to arrest as many people as possible and get away with like a lot of crooked things, but they don't exactly explain what Article 8 is, and I would have liked to have more information about that. Of course, the film does end on a twist, so hopefully we get a Spiral 2. I'm really enjoying this franchise, and moving forward, I would like to see this cast, and of course they can try to connect it back to the original Jigsaw and Saw films, and that would be interesting. Overall, I'm going to give this film an 8.2 out of 10. It definitely reinvigorated the Saw franchise for me, and hopefully it did for you as well. Well, then, thank you guys again for joining me for this installment of the JanuScary special. Remember, you can follow the YouTube page and the website, flipfrogllc.com/flixfrog. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. And please, hey, come here, pretty please, like, share, and subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Facebook page, website, anything that's associated with FlipFrog, FlixFrog, FlipFrog books. Just do it. I will have more reviews coming up for you later this month, and until next time, I'll be seeing you.